Hi, it's Nigel Fisackley from NGU Home Lettings. I'm here today with Chris Allett, one of our senior regional managers. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Nigel. Yeah, it's been an interesting day. Very interesting day.
So I was just chatting to Chris there, and he was saying we've had a problem with one of our tenants, and actually we've solved a problem for one of our landlords at the same time. What we've done is we've managed to get a tenant to leave the property because the landlord is selling. And also that tenant had a few rental issues as well. So actually it was a double result for the landlord. And so what we're going to just do is explain how we managed to do that and what scenarios we had to go through to basically help this landlord. So Chris, anyway, explain to me what's your day like been today?
Yeah, so a typical speaking today is it's a surrender day. And the reason that where this has come from is exactly as you say, it's to find a solution and get a positive result for the landlord. Now, when we say that, when I say positive solution with it, it's getting the best possible outcome of what's happened. So what has happened to this tenant, since the pandemic hit, obviously you're aware of you have to serve 6 months notice on a tenant if you want them to leave. So this tenant has fell into arrears. Now, what the motives of that is obviously a bit irrelevant. It could have been multiple things. It did stem a bit more at Christmas time, but she did fall into arrears. Now, the landlord for this property is trying to sell the property. Now, what he wants, that's going to an investor. Now, they needed vacant possession for the sale to go through. Now, this tenant was starting to dig her heels in. She was in a bit of arrears. And if I go back a stage, she didn't fall under any of the alternative payment arrangement forms with her universal credit. So what we've had to do is try and find a benefit and find a way of getting her out the right possible way. So what we've done is we've gone back and just listened to her. So I'm firmly of the belief someone's only going to do something for you if there's a benefit in it for them. So what we've done is we've really broken down the whole situation to find a way forward. So the first thing is trying to find out about our account and how's it happened that way. Can we try and clear the rent at first? And the honest answer is at this point, it was way down that line, so we couldn't do that. So what the next stage would be is to try and get her out the right way. Now, what that involves was multiple calls and multiple visits, listening to her to see what she wants out of the situation. And the honest answer was her arrears sorted. And then from that, it's working with the landlord and the new buyer to see how we can do it. And the reason being doing that is to agree surrender. I can't really stress to you enough is avoiding court where possible, because if it just tots and figures up, it's a 6 months notice, as we know. On top of that, you've got your court costs, then you've got your bailiff costs, your voids, possible damage to the house. It's all these things that we take into consideration when looking to serve notice. So what we do, being very, very honest, is we go in and just kind of listen to what our tenant wants. We're not going to be held ransom in any ways, but it's kind of how do we bridge the gap between everyone to get that possible solution in the way we want to go. And by doing that, it switches from a 6 month possible more turnaround to 1 week. So we got this turned around in exactly 1 week by going down, listening to the tenant's needs, and then getting a bit of a negotiation game with them to see how we can work with it. And it's been a good result on the fact also is the house has actually come back intact. Now I'm just going to pan around a little bit as I walk through, because normally what happens when you get to a surrender stage like this, or there's a problem with it, the house ends up getting trashed, and that's more cost you've got to think of. But because we've been very amicable with the tenant, the house has actually come back clean and tidy, in good order. And it's something that is part and parcel of the negotiations that we do, how we want to get that result. So in order for us to work with the tenant, that was one of the things that we required, is for the house to come back in actual the same, if not better condition as was in. So this one here, she's cleared everything out, and the house has come back in good order.
I'd say, to be honest, I'd say that's one of the advantages of a third party rather than a landlord and a tenant chatting together, because it can get quite emotional. It can get quite, this is my house. And actually, once you get a third party in there, arranging those discussions, it can be more clinical, or you can be more what's fair, or you can actually negotiate between both parties. I mean, what do you think to that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things again is building rapport, because ultimately, for whatever reason, things have happened and we're past that stage. If we sit down, we build rapport with the tenants like that, and we can take the emphasis away from the landlord, from everything else, and our sole intention is to work with that tenant to get an outcome for them. It really sort of opens up a bit for them, and whereby building rapport and sitting down with them, to the tenant, they see that as someone who wants to help them. Whereas in their mind, the landlord's against them, it's negative, I want to dig my heels in the ground, it's be so bad. But by us coming in and sitting down with them and then really understanding them, they trust us, they open up, and we figure a way out of it. And it's by building that rapport, you get the absolute result you want.
And this was particularly good, actually, because we got the property back in good order.
Yeah,
got an empty property for the landlord to sell. So we've actually got an offer, and he's going through sale at the moment, which is brilliant for the landlord.
And it was pending, exactly, yeah. So it was pending on that tenant because the new buyer didn't want to go down the court route. He didn't want them costs, the possible voids. He didn't want that problem. And being again is for the landlords, it took 1 week. 1 week and if you don't mind saying, it's very hard work of us going down. But that's took 1 week to get the tenant out and get things going in the right direction.
And just to answer what it actually cost the landlord is actually we wrote off a tiny bit of arrears. It was only like a week or two's worth of arrears. Plus we gave the tenant back his deposit, but ultimately the property's in good order as well. So the landlord has got a double win there, really. Essentially the property's back the way it should be. And secondly, it's only cost him the deposit, which he would have had to give the tenant back anyway. So tenants got what they wanted. They can go to a new house. We've got what we wanted, which is an empty property. But there's been a lot of hard work in between on that.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, just to explain to people, finally, this is the nuts and bolts of managing and letting property. Property isn't all sweetness, no problems, you rent it out. It's our job as an agent to get involved in these scenarios, and hopefully, you know, with all that experience, we deal with these issues day in, day out, that, you know, we can solve them. And Chris has been with us for over 12 years. And would you say this is a typical example, Chris?
Yeah, and it's when I first got into the industry, Nigel, this is something that would have shocked me a little bit. But to be honest, it kind of follows suit of as people's lives. And the way we describe it as being the good, the bad, the ugly. Unfortunately, with property, with the good side of it, things do happen like this. And it's when things happen like this, there's always a solution to it, though. And it's by setting your goals and setting out what you want to achieve, it'll come to it. But yes, it's hard work. Yes, there's a lot of more effort that goes into it. And you think, why won't these people just correspond? But that's what our experience comes into. It's understanding every aspect of the whole property market and of the letting side of things, so you know what's going to come next. You know what the tenants are going to ask for. You know what their demands are going to be. We're doing things the right way, and everything's done fairly. And I always think if you're going to be fair and right with people and break things down and be fair and be transparent, then you'll get somewhere with it. And I suppose with COVID, it's been even harder because we've had to go through so many hurdles and so many, to be honest, just to get things right. So we've had to abide by the government guidelines, which we do every day. We've had to abide by what we're doing for the relevant bond schemes, making sure everything's right. But it's by, again, setting your goals and your objectives and getting a positive solution.
Yeah, well, brilliant. Well, hopefully when you chat to Anthony, the landlord, he's going to be really happy, which is good. Yeah, I'm really pleased for him. And thanks a lot, Chris. You know, another scenario solved. And I hope people find this quite informative as well, just to see what we do on a day-to-day basis. And if you ever need any issues solving, we've got, like I say, a senior portfolio manager in Chris. He's got over 12 years worth of experience with ourselves. And we'd be happy to help with all these scenarios. And Chris, have you got anything else to add?
No, just whatever you do with the property, good luck with it. Always, if there's questions you've got, that's what we're here for, you know. But between the whole team collectively, it's pretty much a case of you name it, we've seen it. And we're always here to help. We're always here to help.
Okay, take care, Chris, and have a good weekend.
No problem. See you later, everyone.
Cheers. Bye. Bye. Bye.